Good evening, everybody. We're going to call the LaPorte County regular meeting for the LaPorte County Council for September 23rd, 2019 to order. If everyone please stand for the pledge, turn off your cell phones. Mr. Rosenbaum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Auditor.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Present.
Mr. Novak.
Present.
Mr. Rosenbaum.
Present.
Mr. Santana.
Present.
Mr. Yagelski.
Present.
And Mr. Garner.
Present.
A quorum is present.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like you to recognize a longtime county highway employee that passed away since our last meeting. He also was Fair Board manager, donated a lot of service to this county. Mr. Shirt, Eugene Shirt. It's like, so just want to make sure.
Appreciate you bringing that up. He did. He's spent a lot of time, very dedicated to this county and our community. So our thoughts and prayers go out to his family.
There is one other, just understood from an email the other day from the Sheriff's Department that retiree Hap Bazemore, I don't know if anybody remember him.
Yeah.
He passed away several days ago.
Sorry to hear that. Again, condolences go out to his family. Approval of the September 23rd, 2019 agenda.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, a second. Mr. Gardner, is there anything you'd like to add?
This time we need to amend the interlocal cooperation agreement, Trail Creek.
So he's asking to, right now, on item number 2 under new business states the agreement with the city of LaPorte. It actually should be the city of LaPorte and the town of Trail Creek.
Make that amendment, please.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Rosenbaum, you're okay with that?
Yes, please.
And who seconded it? Was it you, Terry, or?
I second it.
Oh, so
He
Terry.
actually made the motion.
All right, so everybody in favor is the amended ordinance, or amended agenda?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Approval of the August 26th meeting minutes.
Motion. Doesn't matter. Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Santana. Is there any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Public comment is now open. Anybody from the public like to speak? Anybody from the public would like to speak? Are you from one of the... I could be wrong. Are you a student? Yes. All right. You're a pretty big student. I thought you were a reporter, and I was going to make the wrong call there.
Have you seen the movie Bodyguard?
What school are you from? South Central. Great. So after the meeting, you can come on up, get your paper signed. Public comment is now closed. Mr. Yagelski?
I was going to go with department.
Department head reports. Mr. Yagelski.
Everybody got a chance to understand Darlene and her staff, what they did for us during the cyber attack for us. We owe that whole department a lot of gratitude. And so she was recognized, and I'd like this time to have her come up with and show us the plaque that she received, for not only for her, but her department. At this time, please.
Senator Bahacek recognized my department, and I would just like to present that.
You want to read it into the record?
Okay. It's from State of Indiana. State Senator Michael Bahacek hereby proclaims LaPorte County IT Department be commemorated for valuable and distinguished contributions to LaPorte County and the general public. Wednesday, July 31st, 2019. As a member of Indiana General Assembly, I would like to acknowledge Darlene Hale, Craig Lutz, Jamie Hain, AJ Woodson, and Matt Kazmuha for their hard work with the best wishes for their continued excellence.
Thank you. Thank you for all you did. Good job. Keep up the good work. Is there any other department heads that would like to speak? Any other department heads? Any other department heads? Department heads closed. Liaison reports. We'll start with Mr. Gardner.
None at this time.
Mr. Molnauer.
I attended on September 11th the LaPorte County Solid Waste District joint board meeting. We talked about several issues, but we talked about the new compost facility and just let everybody know that's now open on Ziegler Road. The hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They're still continuing, of course, to take green waste for free. They sell the compost out there, and I think they said $5 a cubic yard, but you can go on their website or on Facebook and get more details on that. They're still anticipating on having an open house, which is yet to be scheduled. And, of course, Clay Turner wanted to make sure if we had an opportunity to stop out there, the council that is, and look at the facility. The second thing is I had attended the Sheriff's Merit Board meeting on September 12th. And third item, I was under the weather last week, so I was unable to attend our quarterly employee insurance committee meeting on September 18th, but I received an email from GIS, General Insurance, and a call from Human Resource Director Barb Mossman. We're a little over the projected cost so far this year, but we're holding our own, I guess the best way to put it. And we will learn more about that with the special meeting next month, October 16th, for the committee. So that's it.
Mr. Yagowski?
Yeah, along with working with the bridge that we have so far, we've got the new cameras in place to help enhance the video portion of it. I think it'll make, for safety reasons, it'll make it a lot better for us. There's actually an ability to now be able to see if they cross into the spot of an area, like we had talked about. So if coming into the area, it will turn a different shade that somebody went over the boundaries. So should I say?
It alerts you when somebody's in that zone.
Motion activated.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yep. So we got FACT working on it with the improved line sight for the employees, with some improvements already with Larry with the working with the inside structure itself. So I think overall though, I think we're hitting the right direction.
How did the inspection go?
It went well. We had a problem with we know we're still a little cattywampus. Use the word, I guess that's the terminology. But it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. So the cost is not as high as we first projected. The numbers we gave out. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rosenbaum.
Just three quick ones. Attended the redevelopment meeting last week. The public defenders had their annual meeting, attended that as well. And then the biggest thing for us has been the announcement by NARPC that the three counties involved in NARPC became recognized as for federal purposes as an economic development community and their territory, rather, so that we're now able to start receiving federal funding. And the biggest part is what they're anticipating is for transportation.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Singh.
Yeah, just a couple things. Well, we just had a workshop with EMS. As you guys know, we're exploring some avenues as far as moving the LaPorte base and relocating that, and then with some work to the Michigan City base. I attended Drainage Board meeting on September 10th, and other than that, don't have much else to report, sir.
Thank you. I'm going to pass at this time on the liaison, so we're going to go straight into new business. Consider retroactive approval for council president's authorization to hire replacement position for the case manager in community corrections. You will do them all together if that's okay with you guys.
I'm good. Yep.
And then also an equipment operator for the LaPorte County Highway Department and a secretary for adult probations. What's your preference?
Is that a motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Santana. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
I just had one comment. It's just because of the timing that we need to get these people in place.
Right.
So, thank you.
Correct. On these next two, Madam Auditor, do you want these separate or do you want them together?
Mr. BG, separate? Separate.
Okay.
Consider approval for interlocal cooperative agreement between the City of LaPorte and LaPorte County, Indiana regarding building code inspections.
Good evening. I'm here on Doug Beach on behalf of the Plan Commission. The City of LaPorte's asked the county for assistance in inspections at the LaPorte Hospital because not all their inspectors are properly certified. Ours are. I've discussed this with Dan and Marie Poland. They have plenty of latitude and room in the department to help the city out. And we're going to be charging $50 an inspection to cover our expenses. This has already been approved by the LaPorte City Council, Mayor, as well as the county commissioners. It's here because if the county charges a fee, the council has to approve that fee. So I'm asking for approval tonight.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Molnar, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item would be consider approval of interlocal cooperative agreement between the town of Trail Creek and LaPorte County, Indiana regarding building code inspections.
The town of Trail Creek reached out to us asking for assistance in electrical inspections. They don't have an electrical inspector. I spoke with Anna Marie Poland. She said, no problem, we can handle it. Now, I drafted this agreement to include more than just electric in case they have the same issue come up in the future. We don't have to go through all the process again. But again, there's going to be a $50 inspection fee. We should be able to integrate it into what we're doing now, and we can handle it fine.
Is that paid by the people doing the work or by the town?
We're billing the entity. That way we don't have any issues. So because we're presuming that they're going to have some type of
Instead of them paying
application
an
fee for a
inspector to do
permit.
it, right, they're just paying the fee.
Right.
Great.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Molnauer,
Second.
second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Is there any other questions?
Not at this time.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank
Thank
you.
you. No old business, no communications, no ordinances or resolutions. We're going to go into appropriation transfer request. First item on the agenda is LaPorte County Sheriff requested additional appropriation from Riverboat wind tax for fuel in the amount of $60,000. Good evening, Mr. Sheriff.
President, I can make a motion out of Riverboat for $60,000.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Santana out of Riverboat for $60,000. Is there any questions?
Just a comment that this is supposed to cover through the rest of the year.
Yes.
That's all. Just want to make sure it's clear. Thank you.
No other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Sheriff again requesting additional appropriation from Riverboat wind tax replacement of a vehicle. This is the difference between the amount received from the insurance and the purchase of a new vehicle that was totaled out.
Motion to approve
In the amount of $3,700, we have a motion by Mr.
from Riverboat. Yes, sorry.
We have a motion by Mr. Santana. Seconded by
I'll second it.
Mr. Rosenbaum. Is there any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Requesting permission to spend canine donation fund for kennel for vehicle, cooling system for kennel, and door actuator in the
Motion.
amount of not to exceed $4,400.
Motion to approve the $4,400 out of donation fund.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, seconded by Mr.
Out of their
Santana.
own
I think
donation
Mr.
fund.
Rosenbaum, somebody else down there. Not Mr. Rosenbaum, he's over there. Molnar. Bear with me, folks. Is there any questions or comments? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thanks for stopping by.
Once again, just a real quick comment. Thank you again for the presentation. You guys bring that package, you give us the information, and it, it's very explanatory, and
Answers all the questions.
it certainly does. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Yep.
support.
Good
Let's keep up the
presentation.
good work. Next item on the agenda is the LaPorte County Commissioners requesting additional appropriation from Riverboat wind tax for cameras for LaPorte County Courthouse, not to exceed $5,000. But I had a conversation with Darlene, thank you.
We have a page.
What do you got? Oh, is that what you want? Excuse me.
The estimate, we're actually going to be closer to the amount of
Under
3,500, not to exceed 3,500.
Correct. And this is to replace a camera that has been out since last year that covers the parking lot. And I believe there are 2 new ones that are going to be installed, actually 2 cameras outside and 2 inside that are going to be looking at some corridors where there's some blind spots.
Motion to approve. Again, another presentation that you guys furnished us with the information, and pretty much self-explanatory. We need to fix these cameras. From Riverboat?
Not to exceed 3,500?
3,500, yes.
Now I can second it.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Santana, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Is there any other questions on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Thank
opposed?
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's get them up there and get them done. Requesting permission to spend from general fund EMS-based hospital payment for RQAW LaPorte County EMS relocation. This is the money that we're talking about spending out of account 1,000. It's for the money that was received from LaPorte Hospital in the amount of $36,137.11. What's your pleasure?
I have a comment, so we have a motion.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve, and see if we get a second, and then Mark can.
I will second.
We have a motion by Mr. Santana, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. On the question, Mr. Yagowski.
As everybody knows, that this amount of money, we are not sure whether we have the money to spend out of this fund. I would, at this time, like to hold off on spending the money out of this fund because, again, it's not monopoly money. Like I mentioned earlier, this money here is going to have to try to build a building, which we don't have yet. So,
I know. Might I make a comment then too, please? I agree with you, Mark. I mean, this whole thing is not panned out the way that we wanted it to, and but my issue and the problem, I guess, is this is for work that's already been done over the last couple months. Again, that was in our packet showing us what the charges were, and I'm going to support, but we're just going to have to be a little more careful, and in this. And again, something came in like an original bid, and then it was. So we just need to watch, sometimes to who we're dealing with, and put this one in your memory bank because it didn't work out the way it was supposed to.
Anyway, is there any other questions?
That's all I got.
I just want to agree with Jeff. I mean, not that I'm like the situation, but he's totally right. They did do the work.
Madam Auditor, are there any other outstanding bills for this work that was done that is not being
From
utilized?
RQAW or
Yes,
for,
pertaining to this?
as far as I know, that's it. But, I don't know because I wasn't involved with that. I will say that we do have this money separated so that you do.
Me personally, my
understand
personal feeling is I'd like to see us hold off on this until we can. The commissioners can deal with the issue as to why this came in so drastically overpriced, and maybe they could talk to the contractor and see if they can maybe negotiate a better deal or something on this. So we have a motion and a second. What's your pleasure?
I didn't catch that.
ask Siri.
I see what you did. Now tell him what you did.
I touched his phone. Okay.
He touched my phone and she talked to him. So I didn't do it. So I would like to see us.
We've already put a motion out.
We got to do the motion. We got to vote a motion first. Yeah.
Well, so we could vote it down.
Yeah.
So, right. But I mean, we have a motion and a second.
You're still
but I'd like to
commenting.
see us hold on this.
Okay.
So that's what
And give me a little expound on that. Hold
Just saying
off
that-
on it and.
Well, we could have tabled it or done something else.
Well, we have a pending bill. Is there going to be a percentage or something if we don't pay it in a timely fashion that we're going to have to pay? I mean, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, they can go ahead and take it into collection, or file a collection action, or do whatever they're going to do legally. But right now, you have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
You either have to vote it up or down, or somebody needs to move to amend.
If we don't pass it this month, it'll be back next month. So it's not like it's going to go away.
They
So
can charge interest on that.
That's right.
I don't know. I do not know the nature of the contract. I haven't looked at it, but most contracts do have an interest.
due to the issues given with it, I seriously doubt if they're going to charge it. That's just my feeling. I'm not. Mr. Yagowski.
I don't disagree with both of you guys, my fellow council members, but I do want to state that I don't remember this coming in front of us. Council did not approve this to come in the first place. So this is, again, after the fact. So just make sure everybody understands that.
Right. Is everybody ready to vote? Yep. Madam Auditor, call it.
Mr. Novak,
Nay.
Mr. Rosenbaum,
Aye.
Mr. Santana,
Aye.
Mr. Yagowski,
Nay.
Mr. Garner,
Aye.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-2.
All right, next item on the agenda is LaPorte County Coroner requesting additional appropriation from Riverboat Wind Tax for autopsies and professional services account. Well, the autopsy is $14,000 and professional services is in the amount of $3,800 for a total of $17,800. Good evening, Bob.
Good evening. Mr. President, I make a motion to approve
Second.
out of Riverboat.
We have a motion by Mr. Yagowski, seconded by Mr. Santana. Take it out of Riverboat. Does there anybody else have any questions? I think Bob comes to us quite a bit, keeps us filled in, and he knows better than to come here if he didn't need it. So,
Again, this was a situation, Mr. President, that we've done with other departments and this and that. And when he ran out, and we told him to come back, and so that's where we're at. So,
Yep.
And I
Appreciate
think too, with the budget increase, hopefully I'm going to get in my department. That will be covered. I may not have to come back at all next year. I'm hoping.
wow, beautiful.
we enjoy you coming here, Bob.
Well, I do. I
For the
do.
record. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Can I ask Bob one more question?
Mr. Yagowski.
I'm going to ask you about.
I know what you're going to ask. The ball's in their court. I told them there's money available. All they need to do is call you and see you.
Okay.
I don't know if they
That was a great idea, these coloring books, and I thought it helped young children out, but apparently it's not, I
Well,
guess.
it's an excellent program, and I'm not sure how they're funding it unless they're getting other sources. But there's free money there, and I told them it's
Three groups are going to put the money somewhere else, that's all.
I get it. I get it.
Who did you tell it to?
The one that's heading it up is Pat Seitz at the Port Police Department. He's heading up the DARE program, and he gets the books and the pencils and all this stuff for the whole thing. And they've always had a shortfall, always. And so I don't know why this. And I told him I met with him face to face and told him the same thing. I said there's monies there, and maybe they're getting funding somewhere else.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is LaPorte County EMS request.
Did we vote?
Yeah.
6-0?
Yeah, and then there was coming after.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Next item on the agenda is LaPorte County EMS requesting additional appropriation from Riverboat Wind Tax for computer and printer replacements in the amount of $13,837. This is part of their rotation of computers.
Yeah, so we have a computer rotation program we use to kind of keep our costs down, kind of spread it out and rotate our computers. We've worked this out with Darlene based on her recommendation. So this year we have 4 printers that are due for replacement. They're going on about 8 to 9 years old. We also have 4 Surface Pro computers that are in our ambulances. We're replacing these a little bit early due to excessive wear and tear. We keep replacing screens, chargers, all that kind of stuff. They're just not holding up to the abuse, the wear and tear, the constant use of having them in the ambulances. We're replacing them with a more rugged computer that will last longer, keep our maintenance and expense down. So the total is $13,837 to accomplish all that.
What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by
All
Mr.
good with Darlene? You guys,
Yeah, I checked with
you
her
went
ahead
through
of
those.
time.
Yes, it
on
was.
everything?
It was.
Motion by Mr. Santana, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Council comments.
Go Bears.
Is there any other,
I'll keep you brief. Let's go. Not a Bears fan, but let's go.
any other comments, attorney comments, auditor comments?
We won't hold that against
Hearing
you.
none, motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.